All right, so here are five of kind of my top ways that I think every agent should use it. You're listening to Real Estate Coffee Talk. I'm your host, Sarah Hilton, and this is your weekly live coffee date with the who's who from every corner of the real estate industry. Hey, everyone, and welcome to another solo episode of Real Estate Coffee Talk. Hope you're having a great day. If you are listening, go ahead, grab your coffee. If you're driving, that's my favorite. Driving and drinking coffee is literally like peak perfection with the podcast on. So if you're driving, hey, if you're just sitting down, watching me, whatever you're doing, grab a coffee. Let's listen in. Today, I'm going to talk about ChatGPT. This is kind of the way a lot of people know me is for my love of ChatGPT. I did kind of fall off the wagon talking about it for a while, but today we're going to come back and talk about five ways to use ChatGPT that I think every agent should implement. Before we go there, though, just a quick reminder if you are listening to this podcast and you're enjoying it, I would love it so much if you would leave me a rating and review. It really does help. And I know I hate to ask for stuff, but it really does help. So if you have the time and you feel so inclined, go for it. I'd appreciate it. The other thing is that while we're talking about this, go ahead and you can either go into the show notes or you can go to my Instagram account, the Lead Suite, send me a DM that says AI. That's going to get you on a wait list for a little Instagram/AI mini course that I've been putting together, but it's finally coming out. So I want to make sure that you are the first one to find out about that. So I'm saying that now before I forget later. Okay. So now that that's done, let's dive into it. So, a couple of quick updates with ChatGPT. Number one, they just released, oh goodness, I can't believe I forgot the name of the new release. It's not that different, but it is ChatGPT 4, it's like 4.0. It's not 4.0, it's literally 4.0, right? The great thing about this release is it does a lot of things. We can't really get into all of it here, but it's the newest and most advanced model. The big difference is that now all these versions are available to you for free. So before, if you were on the free account, you had like ChatGPT 3.5, then you would have to pay for 4.0, and it just had more information and moved faster. Your ChatGPT window didn't freeze. That hasn't happened in a long time, but um, now it's free to all users. The difference is the number of tasks you can do every day. But if you are using it for real estate and using it here and there, you're really not going to kind of run out of those tasks. So don't even worry about it. That's the great news. You don't have to spend. And I've been telling everyone forever, you in real estate, you don't really need to spend the $20, right? I was paying it before. But for you, you don't really have to. So it's great that now you have access to all kind of the most up to date stuff on ChatGPT. All right. So here are five of kind of my top ways that I think every agent should use it. And you don't necessarily have to use all five of these. What I really encourage you to do is pick the one that you think you would benefit your business the most. Use that, get really good at it, and then move on to these, right? So use it to kind of fill in the gaps that you think you need to be filled in. The great thing about using these things is that it's actually going to free up time, right? So whereas I can tell you, hey, spend more time recording videos, spend more time doing this, those are going to take up more time, and it pays off, obviously. But with these, you're actually going to save time, right? So I'm not as hesitant to tell you to do all of them. All right. So for number one, what I really love to use it for is email and messaging automation, right? And what you want to think of this is like as sending standard emails and having it help you write that, right? So for example, we can have your kind of standardized templated emails. So every time you go under contract, you can ask ChatGPT to write you a standard template email for all your clients when going under contract, right? Tell it, leave a blank for closing date, leave a blank for, in our state would be maybe like your due diligence date or your contingency date. List out all the steps that they're going to need to do, right? The what's next. Hey, you're going to mail out this check. hey, you're going to schedule your inspection. Put all those things in there and ask it to create a template for you. That way, once you get your next buyer under contract, all you really have to do is change a couple of those dates in there and the email is done. Or you can have it set up as just a pure template that every time you have someone under contract, you add them in a certain segment under your email or your email marketing software, or maybe your CRM. They get this thing and it could be general, maybe it doesn't have the dates, and then you follow up after that, right? So ChatGPT can help you write that. That saves a lot of time, right? Or it can even be a post open house follow up. Any kind of emails that you're sending over and over to people, have ChatGPT help you write that template and then it's done. Right. So the other thing it can do is help you with maybe your weekly emails to your database. Like there's no reason you can't send an email when ChatGPT can write it for you, right? Or most of it can get you most of the way there. So don't overthink it. You can also create what I call like automated emails, right? So these are nurture sequences from wherever. So you can have maybe a post open house follow up sequence, or a buyer, like a new buyer, a new home buyer that downloaded your buyer guide, right? Those people can get a sequence. ChatGPT can write all those out for you. You just tell it how many days you want this sequence for, who you're talking to, what your market is, what it is about you, what kind of tone and style. Like give it as much information as you can and watch ChatGPT do that for you, write those for you. The one thing I would add, and this is going to be personal preference, but I really believe it makes a difference, is you want to be sure to tell ChatGPT that these should be as concise as possible. You don't want to dump unnecessary information on people in an email, specifically those ones where you're following up or you're nurturing them, right? Because no one is going to read it, right? So let's be as short and personable as possible. I think ChatGPT tends to spit out a lot, but if you give it that command, hey, shorten these up, make these no more than 2 paragraphs, then it's going to deliver exactly what you asked for. All right. So number 2 is your social media content. Sorry, I just took a sip of my coffee. But your social media content, obviously, I've talked about this a lot. It can help you with content ideation. It can help you create a content calendar. It can help you create captions. It can suggest hashtags. All of these things can be done to help you with social media content, your video scripts, your hooks, all of that. All right. So that is really helpful. And I'm going to touch on it in a little bit. But what I would say for it is pick your platform, right? And then to ChatGPT, you want to get as specific as possible with it, right? Hey, instead of just saying I'm creating a video, we want to tell it what platform you're going to be on, right? What time limit. All this stuff is very meaningful, right? Because if you just tell ChatGPT, I'm creating a video about the pros and cons of living in Charlotte, it can write you a script for a long form video that would maybe work better on YouTube. If you tell it, hey, I'm creating an Instagram reel, I'd like to keep it under 90 seconds, which is the max on Instagram. Write me an outline about the pros and cons of moving to my city, make it fun and make it appeal to this audience, right? Because the pros for one audience or one group of buyers is going to be different than the next, right? So be as specific as possible. That's where you're really going to get like the sauce. Because one thing I hate to see is when someone has a 3-bedroom, 2-bath listing in an up and coming area, let's say, which is great. It's a great opportunity, but they just dump this into ChatGPT, and what ChatGPT spills out is, oh, welcome to the grandeur and the allure of this magnificent 3-bedroom. Like we all know it's not magnificent, uh, Sarah. Okay. So you want to make it make sense for who you are, what you're talking about, the ideas you're given, right? So give it as much information as possible. You're going to see that over time, it's going to really hone in on your voice and everything else. That's something that ChatGPT was not able to do even a year ago at this time, right? So, kind of keep that on the top of your mind. Number 3 is keywords everywhere. So I love this. It is simply a browser extension. So to get it, you want to go to keywordseverywhere.com. It's free. If you don't already have it, the only option really on that Keywords Everywhere page is going to be to install it as a browser extension. It'll take 2 seconds. Once that's done, go back to your chat GPT window. What Keywords Everywhere is simply a keyword research tool, right? So it's tracking kind of like how people are searching online. What are their associated searches? What is the amount of times they search for this? What other searches do they make right after, right? So Keywords Everywhere has a lot of data. And the reason I love, and I always use this kind of example, is the reason I love it is because it's like the answers to the test. If we already know what people are searching for, then it's very easy to come in there and deliver that content, right? Because you know what their questions are, you know what they want to know. So now we're going to tell them about it before they even ask us. Um, so once you have it, go to your ChatGPT window. On the bottom left, you're going to see a K that has like a little circle around it. This is your Keywords Everywhere like installation into ChatGPT. So what this can do, just a couple of the ideas, and obviously on audio, I can't go through them, right? But there are a couple of ways you can use it. When you open it, you're going to see multiple boxes. So there's one where you can select like the professionals category. From there, you select realtors. It'll let you write cold emails. It'll do a listings outreach. It'll do a social media dictionary. There's a few things that you can use right from there. Right. It can also help you with copywriting. So, one of the things I like to use the most is called an article to listicle generator. What you do with that is, let's say that you are following a website like the Wall Street Journal or what's that big one? Oh, shoot. Keeping Current Matters. Say you're following Keeping Current Matters and there's a blog that they put up that you think is really useful, right? You take that into the article to listicle generator, you dump that URL in there. What it's going to do is kind of not rewrite it, but repurpose that article into bullet points. This is going to help you do maybe carousel slides, maybe video points, maybe just a social media post. Or you can break it down and then tell it, hey, from this, create a 30-second video outline, whatever you want to do. But I love that it just breaks it down. One thing I would do with this is make sure you give credit to, the place where you got the original article. Obviously, you're not copying and pasting everything that they're writing, but they are kind of like the creative foundation to that, right? So go ahead and give them the credit where credit is due. Um, then the other thing you can do with it that I like is keyword research, right? So you can go, same thing on that little pop up, you're going to select SEO, and then you can go to keyword research. From there, you can put in something like buying a house, right? What it's going to do is make a whole drop down, like little sheet of, um, these are the other searches people are making in regards to buying a house. So some of them were buying a house with no money down, or buying a house in this city, or buying a house without a realtor, right? Buying a new house, right? All these ways people are searching, they're related searches, and it just gives you mounds of content, right? Because you can go to it and say, okay, based on all these searches, create me a video script for each one. Or you can say, create me, 20 days of social media content using all of these, right? Just really helpful. And it takes out the guesswork. You don't have to guess what you should post about, what you should talk about. We already know what people are searching for. So there's no reason to try to reinvent the wheel, right? Really helpful. The other great thing about this is that since that's the exact way people are searching, for example, let's say if the question is buying a house with no money down, right? That's the exact way people searched. You can just title your video buying a house with no money down. like try your best not to try to be creative. Don't be like, what you need to know or the best ways to buy in this city. Don't try to be cutesy. This is not the time. You wanted to have that most basic video title that goes along with search data, matches up, because that's what's going to help your content get found both on Google but also on whatever social media platform you're using, right? So really important, really easy. um, Number four is those market updates, market data, right? So a couple of things that you can do here is you can basically upload any sort of data as like a PDF, and then put it in there and ask it to analyze for you, pick out what are maybe 5 trends that it's seeing in there. So, for example, if you pick out 30 days of sales, right, in a certain neighborhood, right? And let's say you want to share this with your neighborhood Facebook group, or you want to create a video or whatever it is you want to do. You can upload those stats from your MLS. So, like it's in our MLS, it's called like a quick CMA. Download that, upload it into ChatGPT, and ask it to create a social media post sharing what are some key insights from there, or to summarize it and show the trends or whatever. It's way easier than going through it yourself and trying to pick apart little trends for that. It also can help like give you data. So if you're going on a listing appointment and you want to show them what is going on in that neighborhood, you can just quickly upload it into there and have it summarize it into a little paragraph, or you can create something a little bit more like explanatory, right? So that's one of the ways. The other thing you could do is, I know in RMLS they have something called Fast Stats, and it just says like what's going on in every kind of town, city, whatever. You can upload that, and same thing, have it pull out the key insights, or you can pull out 2 years, upload those, and have it compare like what has changed from one year to another, right? So it just really helpful, great way to use it, and great way to position yourself as like the market expert. For those people who love numbers and who build trust via seeing numbers and data, that's a really good way to get to them. And then lastly, I love it for repurposing and kind of scaling every listing or every home that you go to see, or every home you're going to advertise, right? So let's say if you went and you took a video of a listing, or your listing, let's say, and you want to advertise it, right? You're going to dump in all the details, and you're going to say, hey, write a listing description for this. Now take this listing description, create a social media post for it. Now take that social media post and create an open house flyer for this and all the details. Now take the information from this neighborhood and create how this home is priced compared to other homes in the neighborhood, right? Create a video script about it, create a hook for it. All these things help you maximize your marketing on each listing, which A, makes your sellers happy, B, helps you stand out and get more listings, right? We talked about that on our last solo episode that was 2 weeks ago. So go back and find it. But you really want to maximize every single listing. So if you also want to maybe take the data from that listing and say, hey, write a letter to all the neighbors talking to someone about this new listing, write some kind of email that makes them attracted to me as an agent, makes them want to follow what's going on, or invite them to the open house, right? All these things are really helpful in scaling your marketing for each listing. If it's not your listing, that's fine too. Let's say you're hosting an open house, you can create all those things about it. Let's say you are just going to see a new construction, or you just got the permission to advertise someone's listing. Why just do it once, right? If this is like a $1 to $2 million listing, let's at least try 5 to 10 different ways of marketing it, right? You can create videos, you can create a carousel post on Instagram, you can create a YouTube video about it, you can write a blog. All these things can be done using chat gpt, right? So it kind of gives you more bang for your buck. That's one of the things I love the most about it, is that 2 years ago, it would have taken us a lot of time to create 5 to 10 pieces of content for every listing. This can take you, an hour. All right. So let me kind of go through it again. And before I kind of recap, be sure to either go into the show notes or to jump on Instagram and DM me with the phrase AI to be added to the wait list for a little AI agent Instagram mini course, right? It's really going to help you. Okay, so number one was those email and messaging automations. Number two was any kind of social media content, no matter what platform. Number three is that keywords everywhere extension. I'll include the link to that in the show notes. Number four is market updates and data, kind of summarizing those, explaining those, kind of maximizing that information and making it palatable to your audience. And number five is repurposing and scaling every listing or every home that you're going to advertise. All right. So I hope that's helpful for today. If you want something that you want me to cover, go ahead and send me an email. My information is down in the show notes. Send me an email. Tell me what you want to cover. But next week, or actually 2 weeks from now, we're back for a solo episode. I have a really good one. I'm excited to share with you. But until then, I hope you have a great day. Drink your coffee. Stay alive in these real estate streets. See you soon. Bye. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Real Estate Coffee Talk. If you enjoyed it, please take a moment to subscribe and leave us a review. It really helps. If you'd like to be featured on the show, you can get that information right in the show notes. Be sure to tune in next week for another new episode. And until then, keep your dreams big and your mugs full. See you next week.